Welcome, readers and listeners of the news agency. In the second edition of the weekend interview, we have a very respected Indian police official, the former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Vikram Singh, as the guest of the week. A very warm welcome to you, sir, and thank you very much for sparing some time for the news agency. We know you are a very busy person even after retirement. We see you often on television, and we know you are doing a great work in research and as the head of a university in Noida. Sir, there could be no better person than you to talk on policing and the need to initiate changes in how the people perceive police to be. Because I often have come across people telling me that, in foreign countries and many places, when anybody, any citizen sees police, they feel reassured, they feel secure. But sadly, sir, in India, especially in the heartland and in Uttar Pradesh, police being seen somewhere near your house or seen somewhere around is not a very good feeling, sir. I'm sorry to say that, but the reality is this, and I'm sure you know this.
Dear Mr. Mohit Dubey, it's always a pleasure and privilege to interact with you and also to be on the vibrant platform of News Agency. You have posed a question that is almost imponderable. The police functioning has often been criticized, and rightfully so, because it was originally designed, and even today it is believed the world over, that the police is supposed to be the friend of the people. Unfortunately, the police in India and its creation dates back to 1861, immediately after 1857, when the British Empire wanted to keep its stranglehold on the people and the nation, and they formulated the Police Act of 1861. For themselves, they created the Bobby, the most friendly policeman on earth. And for India, they created a police force that was armed to the teeth. The British did not give their Bobby even a single firearm. The truncheon, that is the cane, almost like a baseball bat, was something that was the only weaponry with the British police for almost 75 years. But to the Indian police, they gave all the weapons that the British Army had. 410 muskets, 303 rifles, 4-5 Webley Scott revolvers, pistols, and you name it. There was the anti-riot drill, the use of lathis, the lathis that not you and I see today, but the lathis that were almost 6+. You had a brutal lathi charge on Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Govind Ballabh Pant, Lala Lajpat Rai, and it is said that the injuries that they sustained, Lala Lajpat Rai died because of that injury. Pandit Govind Ballabh Pant could not drink tea out of a cup because his hands would never be normal and they would always quiver. Over a period of time, the police got a reputation of being a half butcher and half human. In England, Sir John Major says that England needs more doctors, nurses, and policemen. Unfortunately, in India, a policeman is supposed to be the brand ambassador of Yamaraj. Thanks to the subculture of third degree and encounters, a lot of good things have happened in the police. The induction of women police officers, the state-of-the-art technology, electronic surveillance, lie detector tests, forensics has been taken to a different level. The sensitization of police officers towards gender issues, fast-track courts after the Nirbhaya, the 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act, amending the Evidence Act, the Criminal Procedure Act, and the Indian Penal Code. But the ground reality is very different. Even today, you would not have heard of a haunted police stations because it is rumored that even ghosts do not enter a police station. How do we make the police people friendly? This has been a question which has been addressed, or which has been endeavored to be addressed by very many illustrious DDs. But as the saying goes, in Bad Acha, Badnaam Bura. Installation of payaus, water pitchers in police stations go unattended because people would not even dare to venture into a police station to have a drink of water, even at the cost of having their throat absolutely parched. If I were to say that the 5 quick points that you can have to ensure proper policing is to have a people-friendly face and action. 2. Faithful registration of all FIRs. Have a public interface. Do not operate in a vacuum that is bereft of people. The people interface in respect of lodging of FIRs, investigation, management of festivals, and management of the Thana affairs should all have a public interface. We did have a Mohalla Defense Society. We also had Nagar Suraksha Samiti, and also certain associations that meant the association of the best amongst the people to ensure and have a hold and get a good grasp of the crime situation in the area. Who are the eve teasers? Where do they operate? Have a cross-section of lady principals, students, girl students, student leaders, advocates, the bar association, the professionals, the doctors, the nurses, the labor unions. Every segment of society should be represented in Mohalla Defense Societies and the Village Defense Society. Crime and criminal intelligence are a part, and 20 records in the police stations are meant only to keep a tab on criminals. Policing has to go to a different level. Corruption has assumed epidemic proportions that has to come down, because policing is a full-time job. Similarly, once there is corruption is like self-destruction in the police, because it comes at the cost of law and order and crime control. What has happened in Mahoba and Allahabad are eye-openers. I would fault the leadership for not keeping a proper control and giving them a meaningful and mature guidance as to the right course of action in their lives and careers. It's true that the police does not enjoy the best and a positive image and a reputation because of the role that the police has to play. Arrests, use of force, lathi charge, firing, putting people behind bars, accusations, often true and often false, of the use of third degree and fake encounters. Therefore, the image is absolutely negative. In this tragedy of COVID-19 pandemic, the police gave an excellent account of itself. Provided medicine, provided succor, provided meals. And there are cases where people officers with not very deep pockets like constables, feeding at least 5 people before having meal themselves. Running the extra mile to serve the people, getting infected. And I could give you the cases of hundreds of policemen who gave the supreme sacrifice. And that is one occasion, although in a very difficult circumstance, where the policemen and officers have risen to the occasion and given an account of themselves, and perhaps been able to whitewash to some extent the negative image that they had inherited over a period of decades.
Sir, a question very often looms large on the mind of the people, and thanks to Bollywood movies, there is a narrative that police is often influenced by the political pressure and they play to the tunes of the political masters. You have been in this force for very long, sir, and you have also headed the UP police for the longest tenure, if I am correct. So what has been your experience? Can you share it with our readers and listeners?
I cannot visualize any situation or ecosystem where there is no political pressure. Of course, there will be political pressure, but there are two kinds of duties, obligatory and mandatory. One that is obligatory within the parameters of law and the constitution. There is no discretion either with the chief minister or with the DGP or any police officer, but to act absolutely within the ambit of law. And if anybody transgresses that rule of propriety and law, it is the job of the police officer to tell, thus far and no further, the rule of law shall prevail, because there is no element of discretion either with the chief minister or the minister or with the DGP. But if it is something that is blatantly black and turns to be whitewashed into white, that can never be done. As Napoleon had said, within a system there will always be 1% of the people who would be more than eager to carry out illegitimate and immoral instructions from the top. That 1% may vary today, but I would still say that there is a very large percent of people who would say no with a capital N to anything that is immoral and illegitimate. Of course, there would be attempts at arm twisting, but that is where the bureaucracy and the steel frame of administration comes, that you are supposed to say no and put your foot down where the requirement is. Because what can the politician do except to transfer you out, as in my case, maybe 5 months before retirement? And you have to take a principled stand. It is better to be an honorable ex-DGP than to be a servile supine and a questionable DGP who serves dishonorably. And that holds good for all police officers of all ranks. There will always be illegitimate instructions. At the end of the day, the politician can only transfer the police officer, but what the police officer can expect ultimately is the paycheck from the President of India, and that is about all, which no politician can obstruct.
Sir, you have seen organized crime very closely, you have studied it, and you have been at the forefront of UP Police's war against organized crime. You were heading STF since its formative years, since its inception for a decent amount of time. Would you like to share your experiences on how organized crime stands as of now in the country?
Organized crime as it stands today has assumed epidemic proportions and has acquired a stature which was almost frightening. As against ordinary crime, where individuals and groups of persons operate for mercenary motives, organized crime is something akin to a gang that has political and bureaucratic support, as NN Vohra committee has mentioned, that there is a close nexus among the bureaucrats, politicians, and the criminal groups. They together forge crime syndicates and the mafia and attain a stature where they are in a position even to impact the government decisions, because many of the mafia members with huge criminal history manage to enter the state legislature, the parliament, become ministers, and they are there in a position to further the interest of their crime syndicates. There are any number of examples in Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra and Bihar. You have the likes of Shahabuddin in Bihar, Mukhtar Ansari, Atiq Ahmad in Uttar Pradesh. Also, many others in eastern UP. This rise of criminal, politician and bureaucrat nexus has emerged because of the great fallout of the spoils of crime. What was earlier something that used to happen in the ravines in the days of Balkhan Singh, Madhav Singh, Poolan Devi, Sultana, etc., decades and decades of crime, the net result was pittance. And here, if one is lucky, one is able to make hundreds and hundreds of crores in a very short span of time. The will of the state is extremely important to give a death blow to the mafia and the crime syndicates. Very often it's there, and very often it's not there, it's absent. To the contrary, they breathe life into the crime syndicates. The Abdul Karim Telegi scam, amounting to more than 60,000 crores. There are other scams, the 2G scam that run into lakhs of crores. Smaller crime syndicates like those of Uttar Pradesh gangsters like Bablu Srivastav, he indulge in contract killing, kidnapping for ransom, booth capturing. They are much easier to handle. But when the crime syndicates attain the status of national and international level, then it is difficult for the government to take action. You have laws like the Makoka, you have laws like the UAPA, but our success in respect of Chota Shakil and Dawood Ibrahim are indicators to our success, our level of success. The Dawood properties could not be auctioned in Mumbai for decades together. Why? Because of the total complicity of the system with Dawood Ibrahim gang. And look what we did in Uttar Pradesh. All the properties of Sri Prakash Shukla and others, who people were reluctant to buy because of the fear or complicity, were converted into police officers, STF headquarters and STF interrogation safe houses. Where there is a will, there is a way. It is a signal that has to be given that you have zero tolerance towards the mafia, and all the properties of the gangsters shall be confiscated, and the people don't come up to buy in the auctions. They will be converted into police stations or hospitals, but they will not go back to the mafia.
Mr. Singh, the changing contours of crime have rattled the best of policemen. The face of crime has changed. The profile of criminals has undergone a sea change. We would like to hear your comments on that, sir.
Good question, Mr. Mohit. The days are over when the instruments of crime were the crowbar, hammer, kattas, pistols and AK-47. Today it is IT, it is password, it is cloud computing, it is big data analytics, and also manipulation of the stock market. What worked yesterday will not work today. Today, crime translates into thousands and thousands of crores of rupees every year, what was just about a few hundred crores even about 20 years ago. Therefore, the people who were behind working out the crime were perhaps those who were ordinary graduates, but today they have to be experts in the domain of IT, accountancy, engineering, and every field of human activity will have to come together, and the best brains, not the second-grade brains. The best brains have to come together collectively with their energy, synergy, and joint effort to see that organized crime does not have the better of them. The profile of crime has changed, the turnover has changed, the players have changed. If they have a research and development wing, as the anti-national elements have and the crime syndicates have, there had better be a research and development wing with the police organizations too, which should at least keep the law enforcement agencies a generation ahead of them, if not more.
Modern policing, the media has been talking about it, and most people are skeptical about this term called modern policing. How do you see the Uttar Pradesh police faring on this front, sir?
Modern policing just does not mean putting old wine in a new bottle, changing the uniform, changing the caps, changing the cars, and changing the way I whitewash my police station. Modern policing would mean putting your best foot forward, inducting the world's best practices in policing, inducting the state-of-the-art technology, being people-friendly. That is what modern policing is all about. Easier said than done. Because even today, with all the scientific aids to investigation, the reliance on the indigenous lie detector, that is the Danda, is extremely unfortunate. A third degree, a shortcut to getting fake results, continues to haunt the good name of the UP police and the police the country over. This has to go once and for all, because we are free citizens of a free country. We deserve much better. A police force that is humane, that takes recourse to scientific aids to investigation. You may recall that there is not a single case of human rights violation with the STF because they are heavily technology dependent and they don't have to take recourse to shortcuts and absolutely shoddy shortcuts like third degree, because they don't need to. They are better equipped and therefore their results are immensely better because they use technology. Therefore, modern police will have to be technology oriented, will have to have a heart set, mindset and a soul set that is very different from a feudal mindset of a colonial police, which we have inherited unfortunately.
To say of the whole force as such, but there have been incidents of barbarism, of brutality, of high-handedness by the policemen against people. Do you think this has adversely impacted the image of the police force and has undone the good work that is being done?
Nothing has done more harm to the police image than police brutality, insensitive behavior, lecherous conduct of the police. There was a shameful conduct on the part of a police inspector in Devariya. I cannot go into the gory details because it will be too disgraceful for your audience, but it's a matter of satisfaction that he was dismissed from service. But I wish there was greater supervision on the work and conduct of our colleagues to ensure that such a thing does not creep into the system. Drunkenness, substance abuse, licentious behavior, corruption, they all need to be kept in tight leash so that at least we give a signal of zero tolerance to any form of misdemeanors, and any police brutality does irreparable damage to not only to police image but to the subculture in which the police operates. The British have a system that they will not use force on their own citizens. They are prepared to suffer casualties on themselves and also losses to public and private property. We don't have that luxury, but the least we can do is to abstain from the use of wanton and disproportionate force. We'd be doing a service if we avoid disproportionate use of force, disproportionate use of surveillance techniques.
Sir, with the social media all over the world taking center stage, policing has been, I'm sure you will agree, that the police and people interface has changed in a big way. Do you think this is an impediment in the functioning of the police, or you would say it is a boon that the yawning gap between the police force and the people has narrowed?
Social media is a game changer in many ways. It can be used as a force multiplier, as has been used by many sharp and articulate officers like Asim Arun, Navneet Sikhera and others, to showcase the good work done by the police and the difficult circumstances in which the police are working. But there are also narcissistic officers who pose as Dabangam and Singham and bring out their own version, which is in extremely bad taste and extremely egoistic, to say the least, not to mention the time and effort wasted to give a larger than life image of themselves, which is totally at public cost and uncalled for and unwarranted. The social media can be a good platform for redressal of public grievances and to get the feedback from the public. It can be an excellent platform for people and police interface. But unfortunately, what I get to hear is that the complaints that are lodged, agreed that there will be at least 40% fake complaints, but even if there are 25% complaints that are legitimate and genuine, they need to be addressed, and it could be an excellent instrument of redressal of public grievances and getting to the people's heart through their service and addressing their legitimate grievances. So social media, I would say, can be a game changer and a force multiplier.
Sir, this would be my final question for the weekend interview this time. Do you have anything to share and suggest to the new breed of IPS officials and the policemen who have just joined the force, or who are relatively new to the force? Because a veteran like you could be the best teacher for them.
This poor country and a very poor society has raised you to a heavenly platform. They address you as Ma Baap Sarkar, though your age may be just around 25 years. This onerous and divine responsibility gives you the authority to serve them, not to rule them. And therefore, what a child expects of the parents, that you should be an epitome of purity, of being a karma yogi, of being absolutely upright in thought, word and deed. This pious duty has been given to you for almost 35 years. Make the most of it. Become a karma yogi. Utthisth jagriti prapte varani bodhat. There are a few things that are made only for you: to serve the people, to wipe the tears of the eyes of the widows, the destitute and the weaker sections. And there are a few things that are just not meant for karma yogis, and they are not meant for you. Drugs, substance abuse, licentious behavior, because policing is an art and science both, and policing requires 24/7 application of mind. If you feel that there are any frivolous activities that need your attention, then take a posting outside field posting, because then you would not be doing justice to yourself, your career, and to the image of the police. This is the time when you can get eternal glory for yourself, which I have got. Somebody from the film industry asked me what you have gone through. Perhaps you will not ever like to enter the police, or you would not like anybody in your family to enter the police. I said, God, if there is an afterlife and I have an option, I would like to join the police department in the UP cadre. You are truly blessed to have a divine opportunity to serve the people, serve Uttar Pradesh, and serve India. May God always bless your path.
Thank you, Vikram Singh ji, for such an insightful conversation. It was a great privilege to hear you. And I thank you on behalf of all our subscribers, readers, listeners for having spared this time. Until next week, this is Mohit Dubey signing off from the Weekend Interview.